don't sound like it. Oh, maybe I do. Okay, any questions? Anybody about homework, about assignments, about anything going on? It looks like it's going pretty good. We're seeing a lot of good activity taking place in there. So, all right, no questions. That is good. By chance, so we kind of announced who the big idea winners were for the last little bit, the intent was today we were actually going to present them and have them tell you real quick about what their idea was. But I didn't get the list from the person that was coordinating it, so I don't know. Are there any of the big winners that are here today? Okay, we got one. Anybody else? Okay, come on up. We're gonna have you just. I think we had a total of 8 winners that we identified, and it's great. We had. Are you taking this class?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So he's going to tell us real idea what was the problem, unless you don't want to disclose.
I can tell.
Okay, here we go.
So my idea was to create an app for engaged couples so they could rent their wedding decorations instead of buying them. So rent it from those who have previously gotten married, so they don't have to buy them and take up storage in their new home.
Okay, so you identify the problem. Who's the target market is? Anybody? So if you're not engaged yet, it probably doesn't work, or I guess it could.
Either way it works.
Fantastic. All right, you guys like that idea? Yeah. Excellent. $100. There he goes. Now, how you cash that check will be another challenge. You know, you got to work through the university, and we'll get you there. All right, there's a couple of activities coming up that are exciting. So one of the key ones is that product showcase or the product development. Again, that's going to be up in South Jordan. We've got the student code there for you, Kaylee 10. I think that means it's going to be $10 instead of the 50 or 60, whatever they're charging. So if you're interested in spending some time and learning from some industry professionals, that's a great activity. There's a career passport speaker, I think that's Thursday, so you can look at that and see if that's going to work. I forgot his name. I saw his picture walking in. I meant to take a note, but I forgot that. There's always the 1 million cups that's pretty fun to go to. And we have a really fun thing that's been developing around the venture capital arena. And we have some visitors here with us. So Jefferson Moss, who works over in the development office, and KK, who comes here every week. So she's going to tell you a little bit about this really exciting opportunity that's, we're in the final stages, so we're trying to pull it off, but it's pretty cool.
I've never used one of these before, so I'm sorry if I'm yelling at anybody. Yeah, like you said, my name is KK. I work in the development office with Jeff Moss. And before I get into exactly what we're announcing, I'm going to ask you a couple questions that you guys get asked a lot, but now that I'm up here, I want to see myself. So how many of you are thinking you possibly want to go into working in venture capital? A couple? Okay. And how many of you are thinking you're wanting to start a business and you might need to go raise some capital? Okay, good, awesome. Okay, well, the UVU Foundation, in collaboration with the Entrepreneurship Institute, we are starting a venture fund here at UVU. It'll be called the Wolverine Fund. So this is going to be like an actual fund where you will be able to invest actual money in actual businesses. Amazing learning opportunity to get to see like how VCs work and what they look for when investing in a business. But as a prerequisite to this getting into the fund, we're launching a VC class next semester, so this coming spring semester. Super duper exciting. Although, hold on. All my notes are gone. I had a spiel.
You got to wing it now.
No, I know. I'm bad at winging it, especially when I've written something up already. Don't judge me, guys. Okay. Yeah, so I'll start this spring semester. The class will just really dive into how VCs work, get you a really good look, and get you practice, get you ready for if you want to be part of the Wolverine Fund. It'll be taught by 2 amazing rock stars in the industry, and then we'll also have a bunch of VC firms coming in to speak throughout the semester. Huge learning opportunity. The hard part, we don't have all the details nailed down quite yet, so this is just a bit of a teaser. I just want this to be on everybody's minds as they're getting ready to register for classes, maybe save a little space for it. We're hoping for Tuesday and Thursday evenings, 5:36-ish. But we'll be working closely with Mark and get a mass email out the second we have all the details hammered out. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, like you said, I'm here every Tuesday. I'm kind of tall, you can't really miss me. And then of course you can always ask Mark. Thank you guys.
Let's hear it for KK and the group that's working with them. It really is exciting. I mean, to be working directly, I mean, talk about an internship that's going to give you hands-on experience in using someone else's money to invest in companies to identify great opportunities and to learn that process is just an extraordinary opportunity. And the class has room for probably about 35 or 40. Is that kind of where we're thinking? We've tried to make it really easy to get into. There's not a lot of prerequisites you have to do. We want to make it open to technology, computing, science students, as well as business students. So if you're at all interested, find out what you can. This is really a great class to get into, taught by non-professor experts that are hands-on. I mean, they deal with this every day. Kind of like Gavin Christensen, who was here last week, that they just see tons of deals and know what to look for. Just a fantastic opportunity. So we hope that goes well. Okay, now we're going to shift gears a little bit. How many, when you were young growing up, did a lemonade stand? Did something to raise money? Anybody? Come on. You did cookie stands. Anybody do cookies? And who did anything else kind of fun? Any other unique ones? What did you do?
I folded paper into fans and colored on them.
Colored paper fans. That's pretty cool. Did you sell a lot of them? How much did you make in the process, Lee?
I mean, I don't remember because I was so young, but I know that we sold a ton because we, like all my siblings and I, we all got in on it and made tons and tons of fans. So.
That's cool. A successful venture in the early days of entrepreneurship. So this week we've got a number of things going on in the Entrepreneurship Institute. One of them is that we're recognizing and we're working with individuals who have been very involved with what we call the social entrepreneurship arena. It's about using business ideas and business concepts and business tools to generate a process that helps create impact. So it's not just about the money. It's about, can I do some good in the world? Can I help someone? Can I make a difference? And using those business skills to do it. And we've come, there's a fantastic story we're going to tell you here real quick. And then we're going to tell you a little bit about what's going on at UVU that gives you an opportunity to get involved in some of these types of social entrepreneurship activities. Tonight, we're also recognizing an individual that the traditional scenario that we see are people get out in the world, they become successful, and then they say, okay, now what can I do with this wealth that I've created? And they'll get involved in philanthropies. That's changing a fair amount because people are saying, gee, I can do this from an early age to get started in making a difference. I don't have to wait till I'm a little bit older. So in addition to those that have spent years and years and years in this arena trying to help people and put programs in place, I think we've got a really fun, unique story for you today. And so let me start with the video, and then we'll introduce our speaker. Make sure I get rid of all the ads.
My name is Zach. I'm 6 years old, and I'm a philanthropist. Philanthropist. I got the idea at school. Each class was going to earn $86 to give a wheelchair to someone in another country who needed a wheelchair, but their family couldn't afford one. Then I thought, what if I couldn't walk around or ride my bike? That'd be hard. And then I thought, hey, I can help. I had an idea. I had the coolest, awesomest ever idea. It's perfect. I could do a lemonade stand with homemade cookies. Oh yeah. It feels great to give.
Okay, was that cool or what? Anybody want to guess what kind of success Zach had over the years? A few bucks, maybe 1,000, see what happens. Well, we are going to hear from Zach himself. Zack Francom is now 14, ninth grade. He's carried this on for a number of years. He's going to tell you all about what it took to make a successful brand, a successful lemonade stand. So come on up, Zach. Turn on your microphone. Introduce your family while you're there. Yep, you're good.
Yeah, so like Mark said, I'm Zach, I'm 14. That's my dad right there. His name's Danny. That's my mom. Her name's Nancy. So, like the video said, I started when I was 6 years old in first grade. An organization came to our school and asked if each class would earn $86 to buy wheelchairs for people in other countries who needed it. So I came home and was like, yeah, that sounds pretty fun. I mean, might as well. So I asked my mom and my dad, and they said, yeah, we can do it. So, I don't know, it just kind of took off from there. The first year we earned one wheelchair. The second year went up to 5 or 10. The third year, 15, just kind of went up from there.
So in total, how much have you raised over these years?
So we've done Zack Shack for 8 years now, and we've earned over $80,000.
Is that amazing or what? Let's hear it. So what did you learn in the process? Talk about, the first year. What was it like that first year reaching that first goal of 86 bucks?
I don't know, the first year, that was pretty cool. I don't know what I was really thinking would happen. I thought that the $86 would be kind of a breeze, and it ended up being a little tougher than I thought to get. And I honestly didn't think it would go any farther than that first year, but the second year came around and I thought, might as well do it again. The biggest thing I've probably learned over the years of doing this is taking money out from what you've earned and then putting it into the next year, like seed money type stuff. And that was always really hard for me, having to take out so much money, which represents so many wheelchairs that have to go into next year to make more wheelchairs.
How many wheelchairs do you think the 80,000 create?
About over 500 wheelchairs.
That's amazing. And where did they go?
So they go all over the world, mostly to third world countries that need them, but they can't get them.
Okay.
So.
So in the video, there were a number of things that kind of stood out to me. I loved how you had a little measurement system there. You had a clear goal and you had a measurement. That kind of, did it work for you? Did everybody else kind of get involved with helping you meet your goal?
Yeah, so the first year was mostly just like family and friends that my mom and dad kind of called and said, hey, can you come help with this? The second year, it was kind of the same thing, just family and friends. And then as we kept going, it started to get bigger and bigger, and just everyone started.
Yeah. And in this last little bit, you got some attention a couple of years ago. What happened there?
So I think it was our fourth year, we got entered into like a state farm kind of contest. And the top 25 winners received $25,000. And we were fortunate enough to win that. We placed in it, so we got $25,000. And then that kind of sprouted a lot of things, like news coverage, newspapers, radio, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. And now it's kind of hard to get out of it, is it? You've got a pretty big following of people that are looking forward to the Zack Shack experience every year. what are your future plans? I mean, are you gonna do this till you're 80, or what are you gonna do?
I wanted to do it till I was 80, but my little sister turned 6 a year ago, and so my mom and dad decided it was probably time for her to kind of take over. It's cuter to buy cookies from a 6-year-old than a 14-year-old, so I kind of had to give it over to her. But I don't know, the future, I'm ready to do whatever comes my way, opportunity-wise. I help my little sister more behind the scenes kind of stuff, getting the cookies ready, doing the social media type stuff. So yeah.
And how many followers have you got, like, on Facebook and some of the social media?
I don't know, not that many, like 500 or something.
Yeah. But there are ones that come and pay, and they're
Yeah.
following pretty good. Okay. Now, one thing about starting a business, you all kind of know, is you can't really do it alone. It takes a fair amount of effort from other people. So what did your family say when you came up with this idea? In fact, I think it was to do lemonade and a car wash, wasn't it? So tell me how that went to get your family involved with the process.
So yeah, my first idea was I came home and asked if I could do lemonade stand in a car wash, which I had just done with my cousins like 2 weeks before. And my dad was like, yeah, maybe mom should just make cookies. She makes pretty good cookies. So I don't know, that's just how it started the first year. The second year, it's just my mom making cookies, and as it started to grow, we had to kind of ask help from like our grandparents, some family friends to help make some cookies, because we make quite a lot.
How many cookies you made?
I don't know, what's the exact number? There's quite a lot, like 300 dozen cookies to get, and we just put them all in our freezer.
Cool. And they go pretty quick. And you do this all in one day?
In 2 days.
In 2 days. A 2-day event. Everybody comes from all over to do it. Now, besides cookies and lemonade, I noticed there's some T-shirts floating around.
Oh yeah.
Where did that idea come
So
from?
about 2 or 3 years ago, we decided to add the T-shirt aspect of it to have more people, like just another way to have people support. And so now it's like if you wear your shirt, then you can get a free cookie and a free lemonade. So it's just kind of like another promotion.
Really kind of self-promotion. Okay. Any questions from you guys? I mean, feel free to stand up and ask. And his mom and dad said, ask him the hard ones. He's trying to really kind of get ready for college here. So go ahead. What questions have you guys got? This is that moment where everybody's got to decide. I don't want to jump out there. Okay, anybody? Questions? Go ahead.
What are your plans for the future for your company?
I don't know. Right now, I don't really have any set plans. Like I said, I can do whatever comes my way. Morally helping my little sister, then helping my little brother also do their thing is kind of what I'm thinking.
Talk about that transition to your sister. So is the Zack Shack going to continue, or is it going to be something totally different?
So this year was kind of like my last year, my going away year. So we just had both of our stands, my Zack Shack, and then hers is called Helen's Hut, because that's her name. So next year it's just going to be her. So then I'll just be kind of like behind the scenes helping her more.
Okay. Good. Questions? Back in the back. Speak really loud.
I'm curious on the funds that you use to actually buy the resources for the cookies. Is that something that comes from what is purchased? Is that something that you have another donor that said, maybe mom and dad or something else? How do you kind of manage the purchasing and then the production or buying stuff?
Oh, so that is like our seed money that we have to take out. So every year we have to take out about $1,000 more or less to put on next year, buy all the cookie ingredients, buy all that kind of stuff. So that's more, sometimes we go to grocery stores and ask if they'll donate money so then we can use less of our seed money, the money that we made last year.
Right. That's part of the business skills, obviously, in running a not-for-profit organization is you've got to keep the system alive. You've got to make sure you're keeping out enough funding to be able to continue to operate effectively.
Did you run into any regulatory obstacles?
Not that I've really been aware of. I think that as I was younger, I kind of got shielded from a lot of the sad aspects of it that we had to take away. I remember one year, my goal, I always have a goal, and I think my goal was 20 or 25 wheelchairs, and we came up one short. So that I get like, I don't know, I get kind of emotional thinking that that's one less person that doesn't get to have a wheelchair. So then I think that's that's kind of the main thing that I face in every year, maybe not getting the goal and that kind of stuff.
Oh, where? Go ahead. Oh, way over here.
Going back to the grocery stores, asking for donations for the cause, how many would you approach for the full year, and how many of them would be willing to donate to the cause?
So usually we would only approach like one or two, and maybe, I think usually they would say yes. I think one year one of them said no, and that wasn't really the biggest deal. We also have one of another family friends, he works at Nestle, so then he gives us some chocolate chips. So it's just kind of like a effort from everybody.
What did you learn about yourself along the way?
I don't know. I didn't think that I would get so like attached to it, thinking that it would just be 1 year. Now it's just kind of like a big part of my life and what I do, and I don't know, just that kind of stuff.
Are you wanting to go into like entrepreneury or whatever you want to call that, or is like your heart set on being like a doctor or something, and this is just like a means to kind of get through college and stuff like that?
So I think definitely that I would like to go into entrepreneurship. I think like what I'm thinking right now is I kind of want to be like a lawyer or like a sportscaster, but like work on ESPN. I think that'd be pretty. But yeah, I think entrepreneurship will always have a place in my heart, and I think that I would like to go into that.
Have you used these philanthropic skills with any other areas of your life, raising funds for any other activities?
I think that this is kind of, Zack Track is the only thing that I've done like philanthropy-wise, but I think that I would like to do things later in the future and use the skills that I've gained to help more people out.
Another one over here.
So, I mean, like you said, it makes sense to have your little sister take over because she's cuter to sell the cookies, and you want to help her behind the scenes, but what's stopping you from still being just as much involved, but raising funds in different ways, such as mowing yards or the car wash, or things that don't have to be cute, but you can still contribute to the same fund?
I don't know. I think that there is other things that I could do, but for right now, I think that she kind of takes control and she wants to learn, and I kind of want to help her learn the things that I've learned over the years and help her grow and things like that. So I think there is things that I could be doing and that I want to do, but for right now, I'm focusing on her more.
Back in the back.
What is your wheelchair goal for this next year, and what challenges do you see in achieving that goal?
So I don't really have a goal for this year because it's more Helen now. So I think that her goal is she's kind of like airheady, so she doesn't really know what her goal would like to be. But I think anywhere around 35 to 45 wheelchairs is always a good estimate. So I think that we can always reach that goal. There's things that sometimes can limit us, and there's things that can sometimes push us over that goal. But I think that that's always kind of our range that we get.
Have you been able to personally experience the end result of the wheelchair gift?
No. I really want to go to somewhere like Africa or do something like that to hand out the wheelchairs. But I think that for us to be able to do that, we would have to do our lemonade stand and then that year not buy any wheelchairs or buy just minimal wheelchairs like 10 or 15 to be able to then go and then pass them out. So we haven't been able to do that yet, but that is something that I would like to do.
Have you considered like taking this model of success and getting multiple children to be doing it so that you can expand the impact?
Yeah, so I've had people like write letters to me and send emails and saying that their kids have done things that they also want to help. There was one story that I heard that a little boy went to like a nursing home and read books to like the old people, and that they would give him like $1 a minute, and then he gave all his funds to buy wheelchairs. So there's been things like that, but I've never really organized other stands.
I appreciate Jerry's comment about going to see the end result. Just the thought, maybe not to take any of the funds out of that so we don't reduce the wheelchairs, but that might be something on the corporate donation side people could assist, and the funds to travel to see the end result as opposed to taking it from the wheelchairs.
Yeah, I think that could work. I just think that it's kind of like that'd be a big thing to ask of other people. But yeah, that is a good idea.
Don't be afraid to ask for the big thing. I mean, you took this from Zip.
Yeah, that's true.
So 500 wheelchairs are a big thing in those people's lives. And corporations would love to connect with you probably on this story.
All right, let's hear it for Zach. Is that amazing? Okay, we're going to get ready for our next speaker. What I really love about the story with Zach is, have you learned a lot in the process?
Yeah, I have learned.
Would you start another business? Does it scare you to start a business?
Not now that I've learned all the things that
Yeah. I mean, isn't it amazing that just by the process of starting and trying, I mean, the things that he's learned about marketing, about customer relationship, about who the end customer is, about finding donations and sponsorships, that's just an incredible experience. And to have that at such an early age is something that I really think sets up a solid foundation. So we all know Zach's going to be very successful in life because he's already proven that he has some tremendous skills. And congratulations to the parents. Wouldn't it be fun to have a son like Zach? I mean, that would be awesome. So nice work, man. Okay. So next up, one of the things we try to do here at UVU is there's a program called Enactus, E-N-A-C-T-U-S. It was started, I think Lana's going to tell us about it a little bit, maybe where it started. But there are a lot of causes and there's a lot of ways to get involved. And part of the learning process really is a matter of just saying, hey, you know what? I can do something with the skills I have. Let me try it. Let me practice kind of what I've learned and go out there and see what you can find out. So the Enactus organization is an international organization that helps students to focus on those types of activities. And Lana's going to tell us about the program and the course and some of the programs that they've been doing. So Lana Christensen, here you go.
Okay, so you guys hear me?
See, there's the mute on there.
Hello. Okay, perfect. So in preparation for this presentation, I was trying to think of a simpler definition of what social entrepreneurship is. And before I tell you guys what I came up with, I hope that by the end of this presentation, you'll be able to come up with an even better definition. So social entrepreneurship, in my mind, is being able to do business and create a sustainable solution for a problem in our society and being able to do those two things together. But the idea of being able to help or extending this helping hand is becoming more and more vague throughout time. And to point out what I'm trying to say here, I want you guys to take a moment and picture the world's biggest problems. Let's say poverty or hunger, or maybe even lack of education. So think about that and think about helping in those specific scenarios. What does that look like? Is it handing out a free bag of rice? Or is it giving free shoes to children that can't afford shoes in impoverished countries? Or maybe it's coming up with donations for orphanages that needs attention, right? These are all good things, and this comes from a desire to help. But the question becomes, is this actually helping or hurting, right? Granted, there are instances where handouts are a necessity as an emergency response, right? But I want you to picture those people that we're trying to help. What do they look like in a number of months or in a couple of years? If they are still in the same places where we found them, or if they're still staying in this temporary housing, temporary camps, relying on handouts, then there's a problem with the way that we are helping. Right? I want to point out that this kind of help comes from good intentions. But we want to be able to not focus on what we think the solution is, but actually come up with a way to understand what we're trying to help with. So one example of this would be the tragedy that hit Haiti in 2010. So people around the world seeing what's happening in Haiti wanted to help. And one of our response is to donate 15,000 metric tons of rice in Haiti. okay? But one thing that we failed to consider here is that 60% of Haitians are farmers. 93,000 families relied on harvesting rice and selling them and providing for their families. Now, with this influx of free rice in the country, what happened to those families? They ran out of jobs. They can't sustain their families anymore because they're competing with free rice. Who wants to buy free rice, right? And so what they did was these farmers that lost their livelihood would move to these camps, this temporary housing, and rely on mercies of others. So we become contributors, oh, it doesn't show. We become contributors to the issue if we don't understand the problem. And I want to show you a quick video which kind of covers what I'm trying to say.
Machiavelli said, the reason there will be no change is because the people who stand to lose from change have all the power. And the people who stand to gain from change have none of the power. That's describing the global aid system today.
I'm glad people want to help. It comes from a good heart. People give us food, they dig us wells, they bring us shoes, they encourage others to give.
We will make poverty history.
The problem is, it does not work.
The foreign aid amounted to a huge subsidy, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Tom Shoes found the right model that captured this love of people who want to be generous and helpful.
Our donations have an unpredictable impact on the local economy. Why would you go buy something that's for free?
What happened to our cotton farmers? That's all gone because of the negative impact of the imports at a second-hand level.
We rich countries that produce a lot of food should sell it to poor countries. It has not worked. It actually created more poverty.
We don't need one more celebrity doing one more campaign. What we need is to no longer be excluded.
No one wants to be a beggar for life.
Emergency disaster relief has become a permanent model.
After 40 years, if you're still here, there's a problem. I know about countries that developed on trade and innovation and business. I don't know of any country that got so much aid that suddenly became a first world country.
If you really want to help, the poverty industry as we know it has to go.
The sooner we tell a beautiful story about the African entrepreneur doing amazing work, then we will begin to shift mindsets.
Her kids were in a horrible situation, but she started to work. And within 3 months, she had 10 employees of her own.
When you do something, you can see the impact on the population, and you can say, this is because of me.
Having a heart for the poor isn't hard. Having a mind for the poor, that's the challenge.
I was reading a quote early this morning, and it's from a CEO, and I can't remember his name. He said that social entrepreneurship is it's not about giving them a fish. And it's more than just teaching them how to fish. It's revolutionizing the whole fishing industry. And I think that's what Poverty Inc. was able to capture there. As entrepreneurs, I want to teach you this word, heropreneurship. And you probably have heard of this before. But heropreneurship, basically, is the concept of thinking of a successful entrepreneur being the hero. So I am the hero. I can solve the problem. The issue with this is it becomes more and more just a social aspect. We post pictures of giving free rice in bags or playing with kids in orphanages. We redefine social entrepreneurship, but it's lacking the actual social impact. One of our professors here in the university, Kevin Castle, he actually worked with Oxford University to come up with a way to solve this problem, to not just be solutions-oriented, but actually understand the problem, the issue, and what we're trying to help with. And so the challenge that they came up with was map the challenge system. And this competition is focused on helping the students have the skills to know how they can root cause analysis, to be able to identify what they're trying to help with. And this Map the System Challenge is just one of the many resources that are available to us. Like what Mark mentioned earlier, one of the biggest resources that's available to us as students is Enactus. Enactus is actually a worldwide organization, equipped or invested in equipping students with the right skill set and experiences to be able to make the right impact in the right way. So I want to show you a short clip, and this one will be really short, to just show you how big Enactus is.
Enactus students are over 70,000 strong, spread across 36 countries, working on nearly 5,000 projects annually. That's over 5 million volunteer hours, impacting the lives of nearly 2 million people.
I told you it was short. And so, like I mentioned earlier, it's in 36 countries. And what each Enactus organization in each university is focused on is addressing or creating a project that addresses one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that the United Nations has. Here in UVU, I want to show you some of the projects that we actually have. One is in Lusaka, Zambia, where in Lusaka, Zambia, the females there have little to no opportunity of a life after high school. A lot of them fall into prostitution to be able to just survive, to provide for their family. And so we partnered with She Talks to the World, and She Talks to the World is an all-girls school helping these women to empower them and actually provide education after high school. So what Enactus did was to create this entrepreneurial curriculum to help these girls, teach them these business skills and give them the confidence that they can actually start business when they graduate. Another thing that they did was they started this secondhand clothing shop where the income can sustainably support the economic needs of the school. And lastly, they also created this shuttle system to provide additional income, but also so that the girls that are traveling to and from the school will be able to go to school safely. So, quick recap of the impact of this project. 1/3 of the cost of running the school is covered by the income they receive from the secondhand clothing store. Prior to having the shuttle, there were 20 students, 20 girls that are missing that are probably due to kidnapping or abuse. But after they've implemented the shuttle system, there were 0 reported of missing children. Another thing is that two students started businesses right after they graduated or right after they finished this curriculum, and 7 more students started this entrepreneurial curriculum that Enactus helps it out. Another project that Enactus UVU did in a more local scale is Run On. One of the problems here, or the issue here, is that students that have disability often feel, or are in a wheelchair, often feel disconnect from their peers. So Run On plans on bridging that gap. Students in wheelchairs that want to participate in sports can bridge that gap with their peers that are in sports that wants to push them. The impact of this project: the athletes get to experience competition, winning, participating on a team. They also get to have a much richer experience and maintain a higher quality of life than the statistical average. So these are just some of the projects that Enactus have done in the past, and these are some of the projects that we are currently working on. We have the veterans, entrepreneurs, Team Safe in Utah. Those are all locally here in Utah. And we also have international projects for solar microfinancing in Congo and teaching entrepreneurial skills, which are US credited units for those students in Mauritius, East Africa. Okay. You probably have heard this quote before. It's by Gandhi. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. A very common quote that we use time and again. But what I wanted to point out is the concept of reciprocity here. It's not just that we're helping, Enactus students are not just helping other people, but they also get to enrich their own experience. These are some of the experiences that Enactus students have. One, like I mentioned earlier, we teach the right skill set that is necessary, that is needed to be able to have an impact the right way. You get to apply those management skills, those entrepreneurial skills, and head the project or be part of that project, like the projects that I've showed you earlier. Exposure, one of the things that Enactus students get to do is they get to participate in competition regionally, nationally, and worldwide. And we get to meet different people, students, entrepreneurs with the same mindset and same goals. And lastly, ability to network. In these competitions, we get to meet some of our corporate sponsors that are invested in the same things that we are. Some of these corporate sponsors are KPMG, Hershey's, and whatnot. KPMG, for example, they don't necessarily hire an UBU, but they do hire Enactus students. That's because they know the skill sets that these students have in whatever field. It could be from science or engineering or business students. And they know that they've learned these business skills and are invested in the same things that these companies are. Our way of giving back to the university is we have this class. It's called Management 29R, and it's called Lunch and Leaders. And basically what it is it's for all students, Enactus students and even non-Enactus students can participate in this class. We cover the different skills that we've talked about, problem solving, and being able to apply those skills in real life experiences. So you can take a moment and write that down if you're interested. We'll be having it this coming semester from 12 to 1:50, and it's just going to be a one credit class, so that could help you with your credits. All right. Well, in closing, I just want to point out 3 things. That one, there is the right way to have that right impact. Sometimes it's just spending a little bit more time understanding what the real problem is and not jumping at the solutions that we think is going to help us. And second is how we can apply the entrepreneurial skills and business skills that we learn here in school as early as now to be able to help others. And lastly, social entrepreneurship is not just about doing good, but it's about doing good well. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Lana?
Yes, you can ask questions. Yes.
How does Enactus differentiate between a social enterprise and a nonprofit philanthropic?
So one of the goals of Enactus is to be able to help a social cause, but also be sustainable in different aspects. So not just asking for donations, but having them be sustainable. So for example, the project in Zambia, they didn't just want to ask for donations to run the school, they want the students to actually be capable of funding that school as well. Also, we have our academic advisor here to help me answer your questions. So you can ask hard questions, and I'll direct that to him.
Okay, so we have a few people here that are involved in Enactus. Let me just say, if you're helping as an advisor, mentor, or as a student, and you're in Enactus, stand up so you can kind of see who you are. So these are people you can chat with if you've got questions. Bill Nils, the director of the MBA program. Ephraim Zamora's in the back as a career counselor. Green shirt is really, so Dallin is over here. And you got Lana, and you got myself. And then what's also amazing is we have with us today also Jared Garrett, who is one of the best wealth managers that we have here in the Valley. And he spends a lot of time working with individuals that are looking for ways to effectively manage their wealth from a legacy standpoint. How do we do good with the funds and the wealth that's been generated to not only help current but also future generations? So Jerry Garrett would also be a great individual if you wanted to get a little bit of input on ways to get involved from that standpoint. So my main message, and the word of the day is gift, or give or gift, anything like that. But the main thing I want you to think about is entrepreneurs, we identify a problem, We identify who has that problem. We come up with the solutions through some great problem-solving skill sets. And we find a way to implement that solution in a way that becomes sustainable. And you can see that in a not-for-profit, you can see that in an Enactus format, you can see it in a for-profit format. The key message is find a way to try it. Just, you don't have to be old and mature and graduated to try something. You can be an 8-year-old kid that just wants to make a difference. Or you can be anywhere in your lifetime. Figure out where your passion is, find a way to make a difference, and apply those skills. Solve the problems that are surrounding us. So thank you, everybody, and again, we'll see you next week.